Hey everyone. So, to a large extent, mobile app development is about rendering lists. And in the course of developing any mobile app, you'll find yourself needing to come up with creative ways of rendering lists of data. So today, we're going to create a neat little scrolling animation using React Native's animated API. I'm a fan of pixel art, so I chose a couple of images that I thought looked cool. And in this video, I'll show you how to put them in a FlatList and rotate them as you scroll. Let's do it. Here I've got my list of image URLs, but let's start off by creating a container view and a FlatList. We're going to need to import a few things, so let's grab view and also style sheet. And let's create a style sheet down here. We know we're going to want styles for our container view and also our FlatList, so let's create those as well. And we're going to want flex1, justify content center, align items center for our container view. And let's apply those styles. Let's also apply FlatList, although it's empty at the moment. Let's add our key extractor prop, which is just going to be the index represented as a string. And let's also add a render item prop, which will now just return an empty JSX element. Cool, and let's add our images as data. Now let's see if we can get something rendering on screen. Let's add a background color to our FlatList, red so it's very visible. Set flex grow to 0. We're not seeing anything right now because the FlatList's items don't have any size, so let's add some actual UI in our render item prop. We'll add a view to contain our image and apply some styles to it. We'll give it a width and a height, and we'll actually grab these from the screen dimensions of the device. Awesome. Now we can see our FlatList. Let's reduce the height here. It doesn't seem to be respecting our height setting, and that's because by default the scroll direction of the FlatList is vertical, and we want our FlatList to scroll horizontally, so let's update that prop. And let's also hide the horizontal scrolling indicator, just to keep the UI uncluttered. Cool. So now we can add an image to each individual list item. So let's do that in our render item prop. We'll want to pull in our item from our list of image URLs. And then, in order for our image to display, it will have to have a width and a height. So let's apply some styles here. Let's set its height to 300 and its width, let's say, to the screen width minus 150. And let's give it a resize mode of cover. Let's remove this ugly red background color. And now let's center align our image within the container. Nice, that's looking really good. Now let's bump up the height of the container view so that more of the image can display. We'll want to add justify content center to center it vertically. And let's add a border radius because we like rounded rectangles. Great, this is really starting to come together. So I want the scrolling action to be a little less smooth. I want it to snap to each individual image. So we're going to add the snap to interval prop here, and we're going to give it a value of the width of the entire screen. And we're going to set the deceleration rate to fast so we get a nice snappy feel here. And now we can actually implement our rotation animation. So let's make our FlatList an animated FlatList. And we're going to specify two arrays of length 3. One will be an input range, and that'll track the horizontal scroll position of the user as they scroll through the list of images. And we're also going to specify an output range, and that will dictate the rotation angle of each individual image based on the user's scroll position and the index of the current image. So let's go ahead and write that out. For our output range, we'll specify -90 degrees, 0 degrees, and 90 degrees, so that as the image enters the screen from right to left, the image will rotate forward 90, and as it leaves the screen, again from right to left, it'll rotate another 90 degrees. Before we continue, we need to store the user's scroll position in a ref that persists across renders. We'll do that using useRef. Pass in a new animated value starting at 0 here. Now, we can make sure that this gets updated when the user scrolls by making use of animated FlatList's onScroll prop. So, when the content offset changes here, we'll update our xScroll. So now we're at the point where we can store a variable that gets the corresponding output value for whatever the given input value is based on the user's scroll position. So inside render item, we'll define translate x here. It'll use interpolate here to get an output range value from the input range value that comes from the user's scroll position. And now all we have to do is use animated image here and pass in a style that applies a transform using our translate x that we just created. We'll rotate along the z-axis, which is the two-dimensional kind of forward-facing axis whose plane faces directly toward us. So you can see that as the images are coming into the screen from the right, they're rotating 90 degrees, and then as they leave the screen going further from right to left, they're rotating another 90 degrees. This looks great. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in another video soon.